Hello, I'm Mantastic'c and Fantastic, and today I want to talk about what you should be playing if you're a new or returning player to Pad. So, as a general statement, Pad is an incredibly confusing and massive game overall. If you think about it, it's existed for so many years, and there are so many different dungeons you could possibly play, and knowing what to do is kind of almost half of the game, so to speak. So, with that in mind, I want to just give you a rundown of what the dungeons I feel like you should be playing if you fall into the category of a new and or returning player. So, first things you should always do every day is your gift dungeons. Gift dungeons are one shot, they last for a finite period of time. They are the lowest hanging fruit you possibly can do. They cost only a small amount of stamina, they give magic stones, they give other rewards. Just do them. In addition to that, what you should also be doing in the special dungeon tab is Master Fagan's training. It's basically a much more robust, sophisticated tutorial in the sense that it will teach you various mechanics of what you should or can be doing. It's just something you can play, it's easy to do, it gives you a fixed team, life is much easier. After you do those things, you should be playing through the story mode dungeon. And the story mode dungeon is a fixed thing. Like, all the regular stories are always going to exist, so there's no, urgency, so to speak. The only urgency that you might have is when there are certain events, such as the Mystic Inspector's event that's going on right now, this moment, where it has a corresponding story mode, so you could play through that for other rewards. But point of the matter is, play through the story mode, because story mode gives you a fixed team, which means you don't have to worry about what to bring, and also at the same time, it gives you enough tools to actually deal with the dungeon at hand. In addition to that, every single floor you clear will give you a magic stone, so highly lucrative just right there. And if you clear an entire story chapter, you get a massive amount of some sort of resource. To a certain extent, I think it's a little excessive. Odin's story mode is 1,000 Tamadras. What the fish? When I first started out, getting farming Tamadras, you got a few at a time, and you're like, yeah, this is pretty good. And now you get 1,000 with story mode. Life has definitely changed. Play story mode. In addition to story mode, I highly recommend you play the monthly quests. Now, the monthly quests do obviously vary in terms of difficulty, but what you can definitely do is start at the bottom and work your way up, and just clear as much as you are able to actually do so. With the ability to refill your stamina twice per day, and the fact that you're most likely a lower rank means you're probably going to be able to have somewhat unlimited stamina, so you can just keep trying and seeing how far you can go. And with monthly quests, every time you clear a given stage, you are given some sort of reward. You clear an entire series, you get another big reward. It's just one of the most stamina efficient things you can possibly do, and because it's a limited time thing, you should try and do them every single month they do come out. In addition to these, you should try and do the rotating event dungeons. Like I said, at this exact moment, the Mystic Inspector's event is going on now, so hence the image here shows Mystic Inspector's stuff. But clearing the various event dungeons will often give you a memorial egg machine roll, which is something we all love. We all love to roll more. You also get various drops that could be relevant, possibly helpful, along with event tokens, which can be monster exchanged for a given card, which could be valuable and or meaningful. Point of the matter is, it's good to at least play once through because you get a magic stone, and they're kind of quote-unquote limited time to a certain extent. Obviously things like Mystic Inspectors do rotate and come back, but point of the matter is, it's good to play these event dungeons. In addition to this, you should possibly look into playing limited time dungeons, or LTD, and this is found via the LTD tab in the top right-hand corner of your game screen. And clicking on that will give you a breakdown of the times in a certain time zone. Just double check at the bottom to figure out when exactly it is. But what you can do is actually join the Hyperion Discord server, and you'll get Discord pings for the more lucrative events. For myself, I find this helpful because sometimes I need to get, say, Super Snow Globes, so I look for that ping of Snow Globe Dragon Rush, and I'm like, oh, it's here, let me play it. But with that being said, these events do have some drawbacks. Most notable drawback is the ones that last for only 30 minutes are, well, obviously quite difficult to time properly, but they also tend to be on the more difficult side. That Super Snow Globe Rush that I mentioned is quite challenging if you don't have a specifically catered team to do so, because they actually have large amounts of health and or defense. So just be mindful of that. But as a general statement, these limited time dungeons are fast and relatively easy to clear for the rewards they give. They are not obviously as great as Shura 1, 2, or 3 in terms of raw stamina efficiency, but because they are easier, they can be swiped in co-op, you can do these on a much faster basis if you're having limited time to play, so to speak. So these are definitely something to keep in the back of your mind. And then afterwards, what I would suggest is alternating between your normal and special dungeons. So basically playing through each of these tabs until you can go no higher. So in the normal dungeons, your first wall that you're probably going to hit is going to be one of these training challenge or hellish training arenas. And oftentimes people refer to these as training arenas or TA, and the number being like 1 for training arena no continues is training arena 1, 2, and 3, or TA 1, 2, 3. In case you see that on various forums or whatnot, it's just referring to these places. These dungeons feature spawns that have large amounts of health and or defense and no other mechanics aside from hitting incredibly hard, along with large health pools. So they are great places to actually level up your monsters, but for Training Arena 2 and 3 especially, they're quite challenging and you need well-specific built teams in order to try and tackle them. But again, I would play as high as you can go, hit this wall, and then switch to technicals. And when you switch to technical dungeons, there's a good chance that the first wall you will hit will be the Ultimate Arena or Ultimate Arena, depending on how far you've managed to clear. And these arenas are worth playing because like they'll give you experience playing through longer dungeons. You'll have to manage active skills. You do get nice rewards, relatively speaking. And at the same time, you're like building game knowledge because what you want to play, at least at endgame, tends to be like the newer things released. So say like the various Shura realms, which is World of Carnage, or the Mysterious Dimensions, or like the Valkyrie Seal dungeon. Point of the matter is, it's a way to kind of ease you into these longer, challenging dungeons. And you'll eventually, like I said, hit one of those walls. And like I said, you will go back and forth between your technicals until you find yourself kind of stuck fully, and then you probably could start searching for help otherwise. Another thing that might be of value to yourselves is if you find my content helpful and you do want to support me through Patreon or something along that lines, we can look at your box together and plan out your pad life, so to speak. So, in conclusion, let me know if you find this type of video or like this kind of breakdown of like what newer and or returning players should be doing meaningful or helpful, because to a certain extent, the content I create is based off of what you ladies and gentlemen feedback. So with that being said, hopefully you'll have a truly fantastic day. I wish you all the very best luck in your own pad adventures and happy puzzling.